Yo, hello everybody, welcome back to Switch here with another Marvel Snap Series 1 deck. So, firstly, obviously for beginners, just like I am, so for those people who didn't play the Marvel Snap yet 20 hours, although I already played more than 20, but I'm just saying, the Series 1 cards are obviously for the people who just starting to play. So, this current deck, we're just going to try to utilize tempo cards, which means we're just trying to play consistently one card on every turn in order to have a little bit extra points on some location. So the idea of this deck is actually to play majority of cards on the turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 and turn 4 on the right side, so the position really matters. Obviously sometimes you're just playing as you like, but to be consistent with this deck, you're trying to play the Quicksilver, which you are going to get this on the turn first on the right side, then the Domino on the right side, unless you're actually having the Medusa on the hand, which you can play on the middle, which is going to be 5 power instead of 2, because when you're playing this card on the middle, you will have +3 power. So, on the turn 3, you're supposed to have Quicksilver and Domino on the right side, which is going to be 5 power, and then on the turn 3, you have several of the choices. Either you're just going to play Lizard, maybe on the left side, just as a distraction, or you will actually add this to the right side. Obviously, you have to keep that in mind. If the opponent will see already 2 cards on the right side, they probably going to try to adjust that location, so they just probably going to play something as well. So ideally, you might just carry on with the Cosmo on the right side as well. It's really good option just to basically shut down or every card with the on-reveal abilities. And then as follows on the turn 4, Mr. Fantastic on the middle, just to spread that extra value on the left and the right side. If you obviously don't have it, you can just carry on with the Enchantress to actually protect the Lizard if you played before on the left side. And then sometimes you can play Professor X because it's just the Series 1, so we are not really consistent to either be able to play enough cards in order to have enough power on the location to play him. Sometimes we're just not gonna draw him, and sometimes it's just going to be useless. But the idea is just to understand the lockdown deck, and then in the near future with Series 2, because basically what we need to have in this deck, we just need the one card to be able to play this deck smoothly. But obviously the one card, you need to top deck that card, and the card which I'm talking about is a Jubilee. So if later on, obviously I'm going to make this deck because I'm super fan of control decks, and that's going to be either Tempo Lockdown, which is going to be with the Jubilee. Where is the Jubilee? Somewhere, yeah, it's here. So that's the card. Obviously, when you play this card, on reveal effect is add the top card of your deck to this location. So sometimes you might be lucky enough to play obviously the Professor X with shutting down this location on the turn 4, and obviously because you're playing the tempo deck, you most likely will have the more stats than opponent is having. And if you want to make this deck even much more better, but this is going to be Series 3 and Series 4, so you want to add the card which is called the Zabu, and that's the card which is going to make this deck, oh my god, because your 4-cost cards are going to cost 1 less, which means we can play the Jubilee on the turn 3, and if we were lucky enough to actually hitting the Professor X from the Jubilee, that'd be like broken, that'd be like super crazy turn 4-3 lockdown the location. We're just locking down the location, and we most likely going to win that location because we will have more than enough points. It's going to be usually ending up with 5, and then we're just gonna carry on with Zabu on some different position, and then on the turn 4, obviously this is just an example, but most likely it's going to be occur something crazy stuff, because obviously when you're going to play the Jubilee, either Tempo Jubilee, Lockdown, or either Control Jubilee, because you can actually play lots of huge cards, just hoping for Jubilee is going to take this card and put that on that position. So you most likely going to win that location, regardless you're playing Professor X or you're playing without the Professor X. So that's the idea for the future. Right now, it's just to understand basics and then just carry on with this deck, because this deck is going to be like, oh my god, it's going to be super powerful, especially just going to put lots of cards. I just need to mention this as well. It's not going to be right now, but I just need to mention this because if you're going to put the rock slide as well, so you will add that, you know, 2 rocks into your opponent deck, and then you're just going to obviously play the cork as well. So you will have the tempo. You will put the crap to your opponent deck, which is great, right? And then you will have the possibility to play every 4 cost cards on the lower cost. Obviously, if you will hit the Zabu, but I mean, I have the idea, and this deck is going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. Right now, the Series 1 version, it's still great, don't get me wrong, but obviously we'll have much more potential to unlock to make this deck even greater. So, but with no further ado, I almost talk you through almost every card. I'm just gonna talk the rest of the cards, the possibilities. Obviously on the turn 3, the Cosmo, you just wanna play on the right side as well, or maybe sometimes in some cases as a distraction on some other places, but you have to keep that in mind. You will be able to keep to add the extra power, +6 power on the right location. That's why we're just focusing on the right location to lock down that location if we are lucky to, and then follow Claw to boost that location, and then just play the America Chavez usually on the Claw position to win 2 locations. Or in some cases, you're not playing anything on the left side, then you're just going to win the America Chavez. And sometimes it's just obviously so many things going on due to the location itself, destroying and some other stuff. So sometimes you are not able to apply that strategy with playing everything on the right side. So you just have to maneuver through the locations and try to spread, ideally, the power to just win the game. So obviously this deck will have much better consistency and much better winning ratio in the future games, but so far it's actually so good. It's kind of consistent, but still the Professor X is not going to hit that, you know, the table often, and in most scenarios might be, this card might be like kind of useless. So yeah, thank you much guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. Take care, bye for now, and it's going to be a couple of highlights which I played recently with this attempt of doing the lockdown, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's kind of tricky and hard to utilize the Professor X currently, but stay tuned for the future videos because we are just going to do some crazy stuff later on. Take care and bye bye.
What are the odds? Always lucky. Always lucky. WIZZWOODS.
Opponent snapped.
Right on time.